This is the story about a girl named Lucky. I don't know where to start this, and I just want to say hello. Hey Angels, it's Lookin Bratz, aka Dom. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, then welcome. On this channel, I like to talk about fashion dolls and especially brats. I also like to dip my toes into talking about other things I care about, like pop culture and pop culture things that make me nostalgic and that really aligns with what Bratz is to me. And I wanted to make this video because I was thinking, do people understand like who I am and where I came from and what Lookin Bratz is and how I became Lookin Bratz? And I'm toying with a few ideas on how to name this video. So one would be like the story behind Lookin Bratz or something, or it could be how I became Lookin Bratz, or the truth behind Lookin Bratz, or the truth about Lookin Bratz. It could be quite literally anything in that field. And it's kind of funny because I feel like when things like that happen, it's usually like an expose video. And I feel like I don't know. Like, I know how I became like an influencer, and I think some people think of me in a few different ways. I get viewed in a few different ways. And if you've been keeping up with me, I do wonder how you found me, because I feel like it could come from a variety of ways. And yes, I am like it. I guess I'm an influencer or a content creator of sorts, but I also didn't really start off like that. And I feel like my story really does, it's rooted in Bratz and my love for Bratz when I was a child. When I was growing up, it was a different time, and it wasn't that long ago. Like, we're talking about, I've been a Bratz fan for almost 20 years now. And that's pretty cool. That makes me happy that I've really just had this love for that brand for so long. Though I do think I have a more fond image of the brand based off of what it meant to me during my childhood and what it meant to me as someone who was creating Bratz content and creating the Lookin Bratz website while Bratz was an inactive brand. I think that's where a lot of my bond has grown for Bratz. And it's going to look different for everybody. And I think that love I've had for the Bratz brand since I was a kid really got me to where I am now. It hasn't been necessarily about having to be an influencer. Like, I did get here because of my passion. That's how I feel, at least, and because people recognize that passion. The people who have supported my work respect my passion for the work that I have done for free of charge for the most part. And that it doesn't mean anything that it was free. I'm just saying, like, that's the level of how much I loved what I had been doing and how much I loved Bratz was because I had a deep love for it. Like, I just liked doing it. And I think that's what a lot of people, should have. They should have something that they really love that much. Because passion's a hell of a drug. Passion's like the thing that, like, if you have it, like, it's so amazing to have it. Because I don't know how many people have it, or maybe some people just don't know how to express it. But for me, I feel like I've managed to find a way to express it. And in ways, I think it's made me seem a little bit more important than I feel like I am. And it's maybe gotten me into trouble because people perceive me as the Bratz influencer or a Bratz influencer. I don't want to give myself labels because I know everybody has a different perception of social media and what's happening on it, but I do think the past I don't know, I don't even know where it really started, but I think people started looking to me as Lookin Bratz as the person to go to for literally like everything, not only that had happened to the Bratz brand in the past, but also that was currently happening with the Bratz brand. And that's where I'm a little bit like, oh, like, I don't think that should be the impression that people have of me anymore. And I've tried to step away from doing anything that would give people the impression that I am more important than I am. So I wanted to make a video because I like doing YouTube videos, and it's something that I want to do more often. And it's something that I've been deterred from for some time. And it's not because of anything that really happened on YouTube. In fact, I kind of like the engagement I get on YouTube more. Like, I think the people who, support me and watch me are genuinely interested. And that's hard to, that's a pretty, like, big thing to just, for someone to respect what you have to say. Like, for me, I felt like I grew up feeling so unimportant. And I tried so hard when I was like in my teens to try to make something of myself in middle school and high school. And I really just wanted to be someone, but I felt like the person that I was sort of becoming as a young adult, like, I don't know, it's very different from who I am now. Like, not everything is completely different, but there are things about you that change over time. And I'm filming another video after this that's actually getting posted before this, and it's really made me think about what has happened to me in the past decade, and honestly, what's happened to me in the past 2 decades. And here's things that I'm working on. I'm working on not saying things like, honestly, oh, to be honest, personally, no. I want to just be able to give my opinion without people thinking that it's either too positive or too negative, or he's MGA's cuck, or I'm 26 years old. So I do have like I'm a grown man. I'm a grown man doing all this, by the way. Mind you, like, I'm a 26-year-old man. I am posting this on my 27th birthday on August 15th of 2025. Because I've been thinking about, like, who have I been and who have I evolved into? And especially because I have dedicated a lot of my time to Lookin Bratz. Also, I might look good today, because I do think I look good today. I have a little bit of a cold right now. It's mostly like my throat, and like I'm feeling it here the more that I'm talking now, and I haven't talked like this on YouTube in a minute. It's been a few weeks. I actually filmed the Jean-Paul Gaultier video, which I have to post as I'm filming this, because I'm very, like, I have not been on anything, but I'm also trying to be like, well, do you need to be on top of everything like that? Or is it okay to break? The past 8 months or so has been like half hiatus, half trying to do things or get things up off the ground. And then also feeling like, are people like into it? Like, I don't know. When you're a content creator, or if you want to become a content creator, let's say that, it comes with a lot of mental baggage. And if you don't know how to check yourself and check in with yourself, especially, it's hard to navigate that world. I also have the AC on because it's 90 degrees outside. And I turned the AC off because I was like, well, I'm going to make sure my audio is the best. And as much as I do care about the quality of what I'm putting out, I also don't want to die. I had it off for about 10 minutes, and then I walked back into the room. And I was like, this isn't it for me. I have to turn the AC off. But this is a bit more, I think, of a candid video. And that's, I think, going to be the fun part of this, because I want to talk about my lore. Because as much as I love the Bratz lore, I feel like my lore has somehow, in my head, like, intertwined with, like, my love and my passion for Bratz, and just for, like, my dreams and my passions that are sometimes connected to Bratz, but not always connected to Bratz. But I want to talk about, like, my Bratz collecting journey. And I want to discuss how, Lookin Bratz became the thing it is now, and will hopefully still be. Hi. Let me reintroduce myself for the record, because I don't know if everybody knows who I am. Some of you may have been subscribers of mine or followers of mine, supporters of mine, friends of mine, family of mine for some time. I think I've grown a really nice support system, and I don't like the word fan, because I mean, someone could be a fan of you, but then I also want to, I don't know, I think there's just like a level of respect, because I'm a human being, and I just don't know how I feel about the terminology quite yet. I don't mind if someone refers to themselves as like a fan of what I've done or something, but I don't know. Like, for me, like, I've done some great work, but I don't think I've done anything super duper worthwhile to be like, oh my God, like, I'm such a fan. But it's really, it's nice when someone approaches me. I've had some people approach me. I actually had someone approach me at my job, and I wanted to be nicer to that. Like, I wasn't mean to the person, but I wanted to be a bit more like upbeat and myself, but I was at my job. And so I was really like a little bit stone-faced, and I felt bad. And I wanted to reassure the person afterwards, like on Instagram, because I followed them back, and I was like, listen, like, I'm sorry, you caught me at a weird moment. And it was a strange moment, because I was like, wow, like, it makes me want to do more of this than what I do for work. But I do want to reintroduce myself, because I'm going to go off on tangents. But that's who I am. I like to just talk. I love to yap, because you know what? I was a lonely kid. Oh my God. I was a lonely kid. I'm still a lonely I think I have a lonely soul sometimes. And that's, oh, sorry, the feelings are coming up already. We're not even like talking about anything much yet, but I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. I only had like school friends, and then I had like my cousins maybe. But I was a little sheltered, not super sheltered. And this isn't my mom's fault. It was just kind of circumstantial. Like, where I grew up, like the first places I remember living were like apartments that were a little secluded. I'd have like maybe like playground friends or whatever, but whatever. It doesn't matter. And my dad's side of the family were very, I don't know how to frame this. And in case they're watching this, I just want to say I love you. But also, there's a lot to go through there. But they were a little bit, they kept me sheltered. They didn't want me going out. They took me out, but then they didn't want me like having friends. It was like a weird situation. And I don't know if it was like a control thing or just like wanting me to themselves as like the baby, because I was an only child for most of my life, which might explain a lot about me. If anyone's gonna clock my tea, I should clock my own tea. And I'm a Leo, so it's like double homicide there. But my mom, I think, wanted me to become a little bit more socialized. And Mom, if you're going to be watching this, I know that for sure, because my mom is my #1 supporter. I love you, Mom. You would know better than me. Like, you probably wanted me to go outside more and be a little bit more socialized, but I had become a little bit more accustomed to staying inside. And there was a point in my life where I did get outside and I hung out with friends. That was more towards like middle school, high school, whatever. But I turned to things like Bratz as like my quote unquote friends. And like, I know they're fictitious characters. I know they're dolls, but I was like, you know, if I had nothing to do, I would go to the Bratz website, or I would play with my Bratz dolls and do stories with them as a kid, which is normal. And because I was such a lonely kid, I think I grew a deeper attachment to Bratz, because it was the most exciting thing in my life when I was 8 years old. and it's still such a special time in my life that I cherish. And there are moments of it that I really wish I could recapture, just like the magic of, I don't know, just feeling like I could get lost in this world that wasn't my own reality. And I think that might be it. Maybe we've covered just about everything, actually. Maybe I just needed this for myself to just talk this out a bit. But thanks for talking with me. So, I was a lonely kid. Backstory. My name is Dominic. You can call me Dom for short. My name is spelled a little differently than the typical Dominic. It's Domenic. This is the part where you're probably gonna be like, who is this man? So let's get into it. A lot of people misspell my name. They spell it Dominic, Domenick. And this was something, like the misspelling of it and the mispronunciation of it has gone on for the almost 27 years that I've lived my life. And I've dealt with it. And as a kid, I didn't second guess it. But then as I got older, I was like, it feels a little disrespectful, especially if you're trying to form any kind of connection, or in the workplace, if you're trying, like I've had it happen to me very recently, and often in the workplace, where it's just, it starts to become a little bit more like, you could have avoided this mistake at some point. Also, I have my water bottle here that is, girl, she's getting messed up. I've been holding on to this one for a year, and it definitely, she's gone through it the past year. I think I've had water out of this bottle every single day for like the last almost 365 days. And it's good because you should be like drinking water like this. Like, you need water. I need water. So yeah, my name has always been like a thing for me, because it's just, I love my name. I love the name Dominic. I love the way it's spelled. I think it's unique. And it's not complicated to me. Maybe because I grew up with the damn name, but I don't think it's that hard. I tell people, just call me Dom. D-O-M. That comes with a whole other baggage of its own, from like jokes to people calling me Dawn with an N. So you gotta really spell it out for people, my name. And it doesn't help that my last name is Armenian, and it's a little bit ethnic in that sense. Like, white people, like people who are just like not familiar with certain cultures, like will, because I know I'm white, but like the other types of white people who are not like in those cultures will very much mispronounce it. Also, people from all cultures, like nobody knows like Armenian culture very well. I found, at least where I've been, even in like, if I went to like certain parts of California right now, I might be better fit in. In New Jersey, it's a little bit, because I live in New Jersey. I have a lot of family in California. I spent almost all my summers as a kid in California. Even like some, like during the year, I'd end up in California somehow. And sometimes like I miss California, but not as much. I will say, my mom got pregnant in California. And then before I was born, she came to New Jersey to have me. So I guess I feel like I'm like a California, New Jersey boy sometimes. Because I have such a love for both places. And if I had to live anywhere and I only had two choices, I'd want those to be my two choices. But I don't think I'd want to live in California right now. I'm okay in New Jersey, even though New Jersey's like pissing me off right now. Like where I am in New Jersey, I am a little bit just, it's chaos. Because I live near the city. My father was an immigrant. My mother grew up in a very unique situation. And that will be my mother's story to tell one day on her own accord. My mom didn't have the best upbringing. And there was already that against me. Like, she was a teen mother. And this isn't like anything like to judge. This is just like the circumstances that we were in. And my father was a very irresponsible adult. Very irresponsible adult. So the odds were already against me at that point as someone being brought into the world. And I was eventually born, and I got my name Dominic, let's just say, because and I loved telling this in school and the teachers looking at me sideways because I was like, yeah, that was the case scenario. So my mom had a few choice names for me, and they were cute names. I like the names. She settled on Dominic, I think, and then my dad was in prison, and he got a tattoo. I think it's on his back, and it says Dominic, and it says the way it's spelled, like Domenic. And my mom, I don't know if she had chosen the spelling yet, but then she kind of had to settle on that one because my dad got a prison tattoo. Just, the odds were already against me here. So if you look at me and you think, first of all, just based off that alone, if you think that I am someone who's oh my god, I'm sorry. That story is just so fucking funny because I was like, of course that happened. Like, of course that was. I try to take everything in stride. I think everyone whatever's impacted me, I think has happened definitely for a reason. And at the end of the day, I do think I need to laugh it off and use humor to deflect it because in my current circumstances, I'm in a much better place. Like, I'm in an okay place. I'm in a very comfortable place in my life right now. And it's funny, but some people think I live a bit more of a lavish lifestyle, and I'm like, if you knew where we started, you would not think I was living a lavish lifestyle. And you know what, I would love more for myself, but where I'm at in my life at the moment, I'm okay. I'm okay just being where I'm at, but I do want to grow. And I'm definitely taking opportunities that I can to grow as a person and to grow, like, I want a better career. Like I was saying, like in my workplace, like I felt like there's been moments of like disrespect, and the name thing is just one of them. There have been many other things that have made me upset in my professional experience, both at my actual full-time job and as a content creator slash, I don't know what I've been for Bratz, but you know what I mean? Like the Bratz guy, the Bratz person, whatever you want to call me, whatever you're going to refer to me as. There's been a lot of disrespect that's come my way in that professional experience I've received and that I've had so far. And it doesn't just have to do with my name. And my point before was like, it sucks when, you feel lonely and then people can't even get your name right. And then it's not only just in the professional sense, but like I have a lot of family members who don't know how to spell my name. And a lot of family members who just don't care about me or don't care to get to know me. And it's okay. Like, I've accepted it. But growing up, it sucked a bit. Like, I don't know. And I think there are things that just made me want to just not talk to those people. And I think it's just on my mind a bit. That's why we're talking about it. But anyways, like, yeah, it's those little things where you kind of notice, okay, like, that was a little weird, right? I don't feel good about that. I'm gonna start correcting people when they either mispronounce my name or when they misspell my name. I'm working on myself in a lot of different ways. And those are it's one of those things, like, basic human decency. You deserve your name to be spelled correctly and said correctly. If I don't know how to pronounce your name, I'm going to ask you because I don't ever want to say it incorrectly. Like, that's, for me, common human decency, but not a lot of people have that skill, let's just say. But I just say, call me Dom. And because my last name is a little ethnic, and because I have 3 middle names that are, one is common, and then the other 2 are Armenian. So people will see my name and be like, oh, what the? a long name. I've shortened it. I've abbreviated it. I've used different last names. I've used I don't know. I've gone by a few different names because people don't know how to pronounce my name. And I don't know if I'm going to share my last name quite yet on here. Some people know it. But it doesn't matter, really. It truly does not matter. It's just, a thing about privacy, and that my current circumstances, albeit they're hopefully not going to be my future circumstances, I don't need to mess around with anything. My life is moving in a different direction than I think it has in the past. And it's a blessing. It really is a blessing. It's a good thing. I guess we need to talk about the elephant in the room. We're talking about Bratz, right? Okay. And my story about being a Bratz collector and being a Bratz influencer and being a Bratz fan at the core of it. Like, I'm a Bratz fan. We're keeping everything in mind. If you've listened to like the first, however long I just talked, keep that in mind. Like, everything we just talked about in that time frame, think about those little things that maybe affected me and who I am and my collecting and my Bratz journey as we talk about this. So I was born August 15th, 1998, and I was born to my father and my mother, who we've talked about. And, there were some unique circumstances, nothing too crazy, nothing life-shattering, things that are kind of like funny, I guess. And nothing traumatic. It's nothing traumatic. It's just things like little things that might upset you at the end of the day. It's all water off a duck's back. I was passed around between my mother and my aunt quite often. My aunt, who is on my father's side, who's my father's sister, and my grandmother was there, and my grandfather was alive for like the first 6 years or so. So I did get to know my grandfather. And I loved him. He was a great man. At least I thought of him as a great man. And, and looking back, and I was just talking to my fiance about this, is that my grandfather loved me so much, and he would buy me dolls as a kid. And I don't remember exactly how I got into dolls. I don't know what my first doll ever was. Like, that's something that is like out of my mind. Like, I don't know what it was. I remember collecting like Disney princess dolls and playing with Barbie dolls, and I'm sure in the mix, like, I had maybe like a Bratz doll or a Mycene doll before I could really remember what dolls I had, because there's a point in my life where I remember like all the dolls I had. And then there's like these early years where I did have dolls. I had quite a bit of dolls. I remember like my dad getting me like a collector Beauty and the Beast Belle doll from Toys R Us when I was really little, and then the car getting pulled over because we were in a stolen car and I was in the back seat with my new doll. Like, I remember that because that was a core memory. And I just remember having dolls. And this one time my dad's side of the family, like, they moved to California. And in downtown Los Angeles, there was the Toy District, which I think is still there, but probably just not the same as it was over 20 years ago. Like, we're talking about 2002, 2003. Like, and now it's like this stuff is like vintage. It's so weird how time works and like how we start labeling all these things. But I feel like nobody really talks too deeply about that era quite yet, like they do the 80s and the 90s. I think we're getting there. It's just it's just funny because I'm like, wow, it feels so long ago, yet I remember these things so vividly. And there were these shops in the Toy District that just had so many dolls. Like, it just was like walls. Like, and as a kid, because you're so small, you just look up and you're like, wow, there's just so much here, and it's exciting. And I remember my grandfather, for Easter, it was like 2004, I think, and there's a video of it. I have a videotape somewhere, and I can't wait to rewatch it one day. And I'm looking forward to that. Well, whatever. So it was just everything dolls everywhere. The whole living room was covered in dolls. It was just so special to me. I've always loved dolls. Like, I've always loved dolls. It's never just been Bratz. I think a lot of people think I'm just a Bratz girl, but like, I have other dolls, and I'm not only showing you this side of my collection because of that point. It's just that I wanted to sit on my green chair and I redecorated my room. So, yeah, so some changes. And I downsized a little bit. I'm not selling anything. I'm not the person to like let go. Again, because I have a deep-rooted love for dolls, like fashion dolls. So I have all my dolls. I'm not selling anything. If anybody ever wants to buy something off of me, the only thing you're gonna find is on my website. Buy my trading cards. Can someone buy my trading cards, please? Like, like I want to work with more artists, and I want to platform more artists. That's my goal. Is I want to work with people to just like kind of platform them a bit more and do more community spotlighting, because we're kind of lacking that in the Bratz community right now. I think a lot of people are, and this is why I'm making this video, is because there's a lot of, I think, tension in the Bratz community over new dolls that are coming out, but we'll talk about that a little later, because we're talking about me right now. It's my birthday. So, well, not really, but you know, the day this comes out will be my birthday. So anyways, that was a fun time. Like, I remember that day. I remember being so happy and excited, and it was just something I look back fondly on. So it's memories like that where I'm like, yeah, I remember having dolls, but I really remember the first time I fell in love with Bratz. And it's not, I'm not doing all of this for anything. It just so happens that I've gotten things because of it. And I just want to make that clear. That's why I'm talking about all of this. I fell in love with Bratz in 2006. Before that, I do remember my aunt, she had not moved to California yet. The rest of my family did, but she stayed in New Jersey for a bit. And she was with this guy. That's why she stayed. And they kept the apartment. And I would go there a lot. And he had a daughter who was really mean to me. She was like really, really mean to me. And my aunt did not like the girl, but she had to put up with her because it was her boyfriends, her ex-boyfriend and her ex-husband. Not to spill her tea, but she was a little bitch to me. I'm gonna say she was a very, very mean girl. She was older than me. She picked on me, and she would like just like hit me and make fun of me. Like, it was so bad. So I remember she had the Bratz Start in Stylin' purse, and I think it was the VHS. If not, it was probably the DVD. I don't remember watching it. It was probably on at some point, but I do remember that purse. I don't know why that stuck out to me. And after that, it was like a year or two later. It was a year later. And Wild Wild West had been on shelves. I don't know for how long, but my aunt was actually a doll collector. She has fond memories of Bratz. It's actually funny because she's kind of the reason why I am this way, like why I'm into Bratz so much. And she encouraged a lot of like the feminine things. And this is what I mean. Like, I had a pretty good upbringing in that sense where I was very much accepted for liking dolls. The only person who had an issue with it is my grandmother, who I currently live with, who I've lived with for the past 20 years almost. And she had a very big issue with it. We'll talk about that maybe another because that's a little bit more dark. But my aunt and my grandfather, like my grandfather went out and bought me all these dolls, like these knockoff dolls from downtown LA. Like, that was so special. And like, not a lot of men in families, and a lot of women too, like, you know, especially we're talking about immigrants. And then we also have like my mom's side, who was more lenient because they had I had openly gay uncles. So like, I think that was fine, whatever, to them. Ironically, my grandmother on that side is the one with the issues with who had the issues initially with the dog collecting. She's over it now. She's very supportive now. People grow. This is what I'm saying. Even old hags. And if you knew her, that's like the least offensive thing I could say about her. The other side, like my Armenian side, I was looking back now, I'm like a little shocked that it was so accepted. My father's a very accepting man, and he ought to be for the pulled. But that's another story. That's, again, for another day. It gets a little dark, but humorous. But just because we're talking about my Bratz, like my Bratz journey here. There's a lot of factors that played into it. My aunt, she was a Bratz girl. She said, I remember, she said the first one I got was the Yasmin. And that was the very first Bratz that she bought as an adult woman because she reminded her of the 70s. And first of all, iconic. But second of all, that's a testament to how Bratz has impacted so many people, not even just their target audience, which was children, specifically young girls. There was adult women interested in it because they liked the fashions. There were boys like me who just loved it because they loved, I think a lot of it was the friendship aspect, which we'll talk about in a bit. I love just knowing that, like, I was so supported as a young boy, especially like as a child. Like, you know, they weren't against it. And that's a very big privilege. Like, I was so privileged in that sense. And it just wasn't that way in the real world, though. And I recognize that, too, is that I am a grown man who collects Bratz dolls, which, yes, the target audience was little girls. It was for girls. And for girls growing up and looking to be teenagers and looking forward to that lifestyle. But I was also kind of looking forward to that lifestyle as, like, a young boy. I was like, oh, like, I would love to, you know, take care of myself like that. I would love to dress well. I would love to, I don't know, like, wear cologne, put on my makeup. It's those, like, little things. It's like that made you feel like you were living a Bratz lifestyle. So I liked that idea as a kid, and I loved the friendship aspect of Bratz. And so, you know, that was my reason. But then for my aunt, it was, I like the fashions. It reminded me of the 70s, and she grew up in the 70s, so it did make sense. I just think, you know, when we talk about what Bratz is at the moment, it's a little bit, I don't know how to say this. It's a little bit a shell of what it used to be, trying to rebuild what it once was. And so, you know, I don't want to be super duper critical, even though I do have a lot of opinions, and I do try to keep a lot of it to myself out of, you know, just respect. But anyways, I feel like I'm so scatterbrained, like you probably are like, what the hell is he on about right now? But I just want to be a little, like, I just want to be candid. I just want to sit down and talk this out. Because I think people have placed a little too much importance on me to the point where they think I'm able to grant things to people, and I have no power in anything. Like, all I have is my website and, like, my life. And, you know, I do things on social media, and it does make me happy, but I think I have maybe communicated the wrong perception of myself, or maybe people were looking to just find a different perception of who I am. But at the core of it, I really am just like a Bratz fan. Like, I'm a big Bratz fan. And that's why I've been doing a lot of this. It's not to get free dolls. It's not to get free merchandise from folks. It's amazing, though. Like, I can't lie. Like, if I'm getting free stuff, like, it's not a bad thing for me. But I think people have seen it and taken it as either, like, he gets everything, blah, 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 and he's so rich or privileged, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, if I was rich, I'd just go out and buy the dolls, right? You know? And I do have, you know, I've maybe had unhealthy spending habits in my lifetime, and slightly still do. I didn't I didn't pay attention in economics, and I did not get a lot of good training on finances, and I'm really trying to make up for that now. that I am hitting my late 20s. But I don't know why people just assume things. And it's, you know what, it's just life. People assume things about you, but because I've put myself out there so much, I do get confused on where I maybe miscommunicated something. And that's why I just want to say my piece. I want to say my piece. I need to lock in here. So the real world has not been very accepting of people like me up until a little bit more recently. A male doll collector who has a more of a bigger voice in the doll community and in the doll content creator sphere, though I wouldn't put myself in the same category as some of the other content creators. Like, I don't think I'm as popular as many of them. And that's okay. Like, I'm okay not being that popular, because I'm at peace where I'm at right now. I love where I'm at right now. And I think I've found a lot of support and love in where I'm at right now. But I'm like, for someone who doesn't like have that many followers or whatever, like, yeah, I guess it is interesting that I've been able to get so much opportunity out of it. And I'm like, well, shouldn't that be like kind of like celebrated? Like, isn't that kind of cool? And because I have dedicated a lot of my life to Bratz. I got into Bratz 2006 was when I really, really got into Bratz. I remember going to Burger King. My mom worked at this flower shop, which was really big place. And I miss that place. The owner was so nice. And we always talk about that place very fondly. And we had gotten Burger King. And Burger King had a Bratz, well, it had a kid's meal. And they had Bratz Genie Magic toys. And I asked my mom to give me the girl's toy. And so a little bit more context there was we were living with my mom's ex-boyfriend at the time, I should say boyfriend at the time, who is now her ex-boyfriend. And he was told, we'll just lay that on the line right there. Like, he didn't want me to have dolls. He didn't want me to have any girls' toys or any girls' things. But my mom was like, she didn't really care what he had to say, but out of fear, I would not ask for dolls. I think if I had asked for a doll, I don't think my mom would have, like, it's whatever. She's always been supportive of me. She's only looked out for me, I think, for a lot of her life. So I was like, can I get the girl's toy? Because I didn't know what it was, but I didn't really want the boy's toy, I guess. And it was the Bratz Genie Magic compact mirror from Burger King. I have it. I'll show it to you guys. So this is what it looks like. And there's a button. And when you open it, there's a mirror. And then on the button, if you press it down, you get a fortune. So, do I sound crazy right now? You diva. Oh my god, wait. I needed that right now. Thank you, Bratz. Genie Magic Burger King Fortune Teller Compact. Ugh, you diva. This is gonna be my new fidget toy. I don't know. Like, I was kind of like a feminine little boy. Maybe like secretly feminine, because I think I did keep some of that to myself. Like, in private. Like, I was like a little diva. Like, I don't know if, like, I would take my mom's heels and try to walk in them when she wasn't home. And sometimes when she was home and I'd try. So it's like, you know, I was gay. Gay as hell. Although I didn't really accept it till like middle school, high school, because I wasn't as socialized as I should have been probably, but it's fine. So my mom's boyfriend at the time was rude about those things, but I was excited because I had this thing and I would hang out sometimes in the freezers, which, like, why was I like in the freezers of the flower shop? And I just remember like walking in the back of the freezers and I had my little compact here and I'd be like, like strutting in these freezers by myself. And I used to be scared of that. Like, I was so scared at the same time, like, to go too far into the freezers, because it was like a little maze in there for me, and I was small, so maybe it wasn't that big. But this place, it was a nice place. I liked it, and I just was a little diva. I was a little diva, honey. So, I just keep getting you diva. Now it says keep dreaming. Not too soon after. Like, and I don't know why I remember this so vividly. I went to my grandmother's house. So we lived in Long Island. My mom and we lived in Long Island. We were in the woods. It was kind of desolate where we were and kind of creepy. There were a lot of ticks and a lot of just woods behind us. And I didn't have a lot of friends. And this was the year that we had left his house and we moved in with my grandmother who lived in Jersey City. And if you know Jersey City, maybe like not now as much, but like 20 years ago, it wasn't as built up. And I know like at that point it was probably better than it was 20 years prior. But when I was growing up, like, you know, it was just like, you know, just be cautious, stay inside. We didn't have, like, not all the kids had cell phones. Not all the kids had, like, you know, any, like, form of, you know, saying, like, hey, like, I'm in trouble. They didn't have social media. Like, I didn't have social media like that growing up. Like, I know kids do now, but I did not. So I'm not used to that. Especially, like, as an adult who makes content about something that is sort of geared to a younger demographic. I am like, like, why are there so many young people on social media? But I can't say too much because I was lurking on social media, but I wasn't on it. Like, I didn't have MySpace. I was a little bit, like, MySpace was out when I was a kid, and I wasn't allowed to have one. I couldn't make a Facebook until 2009. So, like, I'm in a weird spot, I guess. Maybe some people my age might understand that aspect of just growing up in the social media age. Like, I had Bratz.com and I had everythinggirl.com. Those are my top two as a kid. And I miss those days because, and there's a lot of videos about that, like people discussing there's not any online spaces for kids as much. And it's an interesting topic, which I don't want to get too much into that right now, but we really just don't. But I like having like social media for adults and to, you know, I would say my content's a bit more PG-13 in a sense. But anyways, a lot of what I'm holding on to are memories and nothing that's like been documented on social media. So yeah, I'm laying it all out right now for y'all. I'm feeling talkative today. We eventually moved out the summer of 2006 out of that place. And I wasn't as into Bratz yet. And I have to admit, I don't remember that summer too well. But I remember the summer after that so well. There's like remnants of 2006 that stick out to me, but what really sticks out to me is when we moved in with my grandmother. And I was just starting the 3rd grade. I was going to a new school in a very different area than I was accustomed to. Like Long Island, I think was, like the schools were nice, whatever. And then I moved to Jersey City. The schools were a little, you know, it was 2006. So if you were a Jersey person, you might know. But anyways, that's besides the point. So I had a hard time making friends in school, and a little bit over time, I started to kind of get in with the girls, and I was kind of like an honorary girl in a sense, and I think that's how I've kind of flown through life, is like I'm a man. I'm Amanda. No. I'm a man. And I don't know, like I've always just liked spending time with the girls. I think it's just naturally like the person I was grew up to be. If you've listened to this video so far, like in depth, you'll realize that I was raised by women, primarily. There was not really any male parental figure in my life at all. So yeah, I don't know, like I'm a white man. That is the most privileged you could be, right? But I'm also a gay man, and I feel like I have a different view of things because I grew up with women in my life. I'm different from the norm of like the next white man who might be a racist, a homophobe, a transphobe, a misogynist, whatever horrible thing you can name. And it typically does happen with that group. And I'm not saying all of them because I do think I am one of the exceptions. But, keep that in mind. And all the male parental figures I had in my life, like my stepfather, which I don't like calling him my stepfather, but at the time I used to call him that. Weird. And my father, like, they weren't like the best for different reasons. Not, one may have been there for you in an emotional way, but not in any other like capacity. Like, it's just the circumstances. So we moved in with my grandmother in that fall, who is an interesting woman. And I got in with the girls, and I started getting into, what they were like into, like the toys that they would bring. I would go to aftercare, so I was in aftercare a lot with the girls, playing with their dolls. They had Barbies, they had my scenes, they'd bring their little McDonald's toys. I was collecting a variety of things. I was into Littlest Pet Shop at the time. I had a bunch of those. I enjoyed, what was that? Oh, I loved Power Rangers. Like, I still had some of my Power Rangers. When I was younger, when I was living with my mom's ex-boyfriend, that was my big Power Rangers phase. I was very big into Power Rangers with, like, little hints of, enjoying girly stuff. Really getting into, like, the nitty-gritty of my doll history. My Bratz history. My Bratz story. I didn't have dolls, though. I had, like, the Littlest Pet Shops. I had my Power Rangers. I had whatever else I had. You know what I really loved back then? I loved McDonald's toys. And I had so many of, like, the Neopets, like, the plush Neopets before they turned them into plastic. Like, the hard plastic. I had the dogs, the cat. Remember those? I had, the handheld video games for the Spyro and for Crash. Like, I loved that stuff growing up. The VHS tapes for the Wacky Adventures of Ronald McDonald's. Like, I get down with it over there, honey. Clearly, because I grew up fat a little bit. I was a little chubby, I still am a little bit, but whatever. So, I loved those things growing up. And it was kind of, I didn't have any, like, specific niche interest yet until the girls were bringing their Bratz dolls to school. And I was like, oh, Bratz. I had remembered my aunt, during the summer of 2006, she bought Wild Wild West Kiana. And they bought me some dolls, but the one that really stuck out to me and that I miss the most is the That's So Raven Stylin hair doll. Loved her, had her. I don't know what happened to her. You'd have to ask my California people. You'd have to ask my grandmother, because she could not find it after that summer. But anyways, it was, I started to, like, my memory started to jog of what Bratz was. I was like, oh, Bratz. Like, that was the movie I had seen on, you know what? This is crazy, because we skipped a whole part here. Because I'm so scatterbrained right now. I may have... I deserve it. That Bratz Genie Magic Compact, which I do have here. I had to repurchase it. This is not the original one I had. I don't know what happened to it, but it's okay. I'm okay. I had my little toys growing up, whatever. And then the memories jogged. I was like, okay, I have this thing. I remember this thing. I remember that movie. I had went to my grandmother's house. This was before my mom left her then boyfriend, and we were still living with him. It was still the spring of 2006, we'll say. And I went to my grandmother's house and I was watching Nickelodeon, and I remember seeing Bratz Genie Magic, the movie. It premiered on Nickelodeon, and I watched it, and I enjoyed it. But again, like, I think after that point, I wasn't really thinking about it as much. And then when I got in with the girls, like, we had moved in with my grandmother at that point. I got in with the girls. I was interested in their interests. Bratz really stuck out to me. And so, fall of 2006, we had a computer at home. My grandmother always had to have technology, like the best technology. It might have not been the greatest, but we did have a functioning computer at home. We had a connection. I could get on the internet on it. And I remember just going to Bratz.com. I wanted to find out what Bratz was about. We had AOL. Do you remember AOL? My grandmother got AOL. And I had an email on it, and I had the kids version of AOL called KOL. And it was like things like that I like really loved as a kid. Like, I had something to like look forward to. Like, I could get online after school and play on KOL. I could watch the videos on KOL. They had a Saturday morning show. And I was looking up on our AOL browser, Bratz.com, and I learned about Bratz that way. Like, that was how I learned about Bratz. And then over time, that year, it led to me finding like coloring pages and trying to like see if my grandmother could print them out, and then printing out like artworks of the dolls to make little paper dolls of them, because I didn't have any physical Bratz dolls at this point. And all I wanted that Christmas, oh my god, I'm gonna cry right now, because I'm gonna do a video about this another time. All I wanted that Christmas, they had a wish list on the Bratz.com website, and when I was packing up our house like 5 years ago, I found them. I found the sheets that I had printed, and it had all the Bratz dolls that were coming out that year, and you could add them to your wish list on Bratz.com, and you could like send it to Santa. And I printed them out, and I shoved, it was like a thick like, I printed like a little stack of paper, and I folded it up, and I shoved it into an envelope, and I wrote Santa on it. And I gave it to my grandmother because she worked at the post office. And I said, could you mail this to Santa? And she said, yeah. And I found it in her stuff. And along with it, I found the Bratz campfire wrapping paper, like bits of it. And I don't know like who held on to it, but I was so happy to find it. It was like the best present I could have ever gotten at that point. And I still have it. I'm gonna do a separate video on that. The past like 3 Christmases I've wanted to talk about it and do like a hot cocoa session, but I haven't. I have so many ideas, I keep blocking myself from doing them. But I just remember finding it. And just was like, wow, like I can't believe like this exists, and it's like in my hands right now, and it's not on a phone. It's not on a computer. It's just because it was such a funny memory to me, because it was so silly. I was so silly, which is what you're supposed to be as a kid. And I'm surprised my grandmother was such a realist, and she was so against me having dolls that for me it was special that she even said yes to me. Even though she didn't do it, obviously, because I found it. Which is okay, because that wasn't like a realistic expectation to have. I told my aunt that I wanted Bratz dolls for Christmas. I told my mom too, and I think my mom did her best. But again, she wasn't working with the best circumstances. And I don't hold it against your mom. My aunt, would go to Big Lots, and she'd go to Toys R Us, she'd go to Kmart, she'd go to all the places. And she bought me so many Bratz dolls that Christmas. This is hopefully the lowest you're gonna see me. I used to feel embarrassed about these things, and I still feel a little bit of embarrassed. But I don't think I care anymore. I'm trying not to care. Because it's okay to be emotional. I mean, you all tuned in for me because of Bratz, right? This is what Bratz means to be. Ugly crying out here. We're just gonna use this. I don't even have tissues right now. But I'm gonna try to pull it together. It's my birthday, damn it. And she bought me so many Bratz dolls. I can tell you which ones. And she would send me pictures of it on... She bought me a Nokia. Not a Nokia, is it a Nokia Razr? The Razr phone? Was that Nokia? I think, or Motorola. That was Motorola. We don't even know about Motorola anymore. We don't even have, what was it, Nexus? Like, all these, like, different phone companies just don't exist anymore. Or was it Nexel? Anyways, I had a Motorola Razr. I was 8 years old. My mom was against it, I'm sure. So this was, like, something like that wasn't, like, an immediate, like, thing that I had was a cell phone. It was something because my aunt spoiled the out of me. She would send me pictures of the dolls that she was buying. And she sent them all unwrapped, mind you. My mom was so upset. So my mom bought the Bratz Campfire gift wrap to wrap the dolls in. Which was very just gracious of her. She'd send me pictures. So I had these grainy little pictures of these dolls, and I would stare at them like so excited. Like I desperately needed them, like in my hands. It was Little Bratz fashion tote. Nazalia, Midnight Dance Megan, the Bratz babies twins, Nona and Tess. I think there were a few boys. I remember Head Games. I think I had the Head Games a Megan head, possibly. I don't think I had the Head Games 4-pack, though. I really wanted it. One of the girls at school had it. And I was jealous of her. And I had a few others. Now that, oh my god, now that I'm really thinking about it, my mind's blinking. There was this one that wasn't a Bratz doll. It was one of those like singing and dancing dolls that I had. I remember I'd make her be like the teacher, but she would sing Barbie Girl, and she had curly hair. You could find them in downtown LA back in the day. I can't find them anymore. I'm looking for them. I think they're like called the Hawaiian Singing Girls. I don't know why they call them that. But I had one of those, and she had like this crunchy plastic pink dress, and she had like a motorized body, and she'd roll around, and her arms would move, and she would sing Barbie Girl, and she'd also sing other songs, like songs in different languages. I had one of those. I don't know if I got that for that Christmas, but I had it. I remember having it and playing with the dolls and all of that. I remember getting so many dolls that Christmas. Who else did I have? You know who I really wanted back in the day? The only thing I really could have wished for? Oh, I had Forever Diamond Sheridan. I remember getting her that Christmas. I really wanted Rock Angel's Yasmin, though. And I never got her, and I still don't have her. I only have her reproductions, which are her reproductions. But anyways, I would have dreams about that doll. I stopped having them since I got the reproductions, so I guess I'm not in a rush to get a new one, but I would have dreams about Rock Angel's Yasmin for some reason. Like, since I was a kid up until a few years ago. Maybe I'll start having dreams again. But I got so many dolls. Oh, the Bratz Kids motor scooter, the RC motor scooter that my fiance bought for me this year. He bought it for me again. So thank you, Richie. I love you. I got a few Bratz kids, I believe. But for me, it was a lot about the lead up to that Christmas. The weeks going into Christmas. I've cried like that in a long time. So in the weeks leading up to Christmas, I was very excited because I knew I was getting all those Bratz dolls. And I was like, when I come back from winter break, I'm gonna be able to play with the girls. I was so excited to play with the girls with my Bratz dolls. Like, that was what it was all about for me. And because I was so excited, because I was getting Bratz dolls finally, I got Bratz. My mom and I went to Walmart, like, right before Christmas. And she was buying things, like, gifts for the family, whatever. And it wasn't really, like, for me. But we stopped in the doll aisle. And let me tell you, like, I had not really been to the doll aisle at this point in my life up until this point. And it was just magical. I was looking up at all the dolls. They had so many Bratz. What really stood out to me were the Bratz Sisters 2-pack. And the Bratz Forever Diamonds were out. And there was... Oh, the Bratz Babies Forever Diamonds, which my mom, she bought me... I would say she kind of technically bought me my first Bratz doll. It was Bratz Babies Forever Diamonds Chloe, who's on my shelf, but I don't want to grab right now because I'm a little bit of a mess. And she said to me, like, I'll get this for you as an early present. And I think it was because she had maybe not bought me any Bratz for Christmas. She bought me other toys that I loved dearly. But I think that Christmas was a little difficult for her because we were just moving into a new place. She was, struggling financially. At the time, I maybe not understood that as much, but now I know. I understand. But she got me Babies Forever Diamonds Chloe at Walmart, and she let me open her. She let me open her as an early Christmas present. And she let me have one of the dolls from my aunt's packages that she sent to us for Christmas. And in there, she included her Wild Wild West Kiana doll. She included everything. She included all the accessories, her second outfit, like everything. She was out of the box, obviously. And she gave her to me. That was my first, like, regular size Bratz doll. And so my mom let me have her from that package because she was out of the box. Like, she didn't know how to wrap her. So, yeah, like, those were kind of like my first Bratz dolls. And those mean the world to me. I don't have that Kiana anymore. I don't have my original Babies Chloe. I've obviously repurchased that Chloe. And the closest thing I have to Wild Wild West Kiana is my reproduction Series 2 Kiana, who's also a pretty good reproduction, pretty spot on. I'm happy with her. Though one day I think I might want to invest in a Kiana, but the prices are just too much. And I don't fully support buying on the current secondhand market. I think it's very trash right now. And people are greedy, especially when you love something, they get greedy. And I've learned that in a lot of different ways. that Bratz meant so much to me, and I've held on to these memories so dearly. And they keep me going. They keep me doing what I'm doing, basically. Because it really is the passion that has kept me where I'm at. I don't think I'm... whatever, we're not going to talk about being a content creator. Fuck that. I'm going to talk about that a little bit, but not right now. So I was keeping up with Bratz. Bratz was everything to me. 2007 was such a big year for Bratz for me. Like, it maybe in some ways wasn't the best year for Bratz generally, but it meant a lot as a fan. I would go on Bratz.com every single day. I'd bring a Bratz doll to school every day. Every day I'd aftercare, I'd have a Bratz doll in my bag. My mom would get so mad at me in the morning because I hadn't picked the Bratz doll I wanted to take yet. She'd be like, you should have picked it out last night. So it was just like, like I loved Bratz. I would be on Bratz.com every day after school. I'd go to Everything Girl. I check out My Scene. I check out Barbie. I check out everything. I check out all the Bratz spin-off websites. Like every spin-off had a website. There was a Bratz Pets website. There was a Bratz Collectibles website. Like there was a few different ones. I loved the MGA.com website, MGAE.com website. Like those were like so fun to explore for me as a kid. Like it felt like I was in the know about Bratz. And then I remember going to Bratz.com in February of 2007, and I look at the TV and music button in the navigation, and it says Bratz the movie. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? I click on it, and it's the announcement for the live action Bratz movie. And the live action Bratz movie comes out that year, and I was in California when it came out. That was where it was filmed. It was filmed in downtown Los Angeles. Like I knew the area. Like it felt so special to me as a kid because I felt like I was like in that world, I guess, and I understood the world. And I was in California visiting my grandmother, my dad, my aunt, whatever. And I hadn't remembered having Bratz the prior year, but I had told them, they knew how much I loved Bratz and how much I wanted to like get more Bratz dolls, and I was excited to go see the movie, and I wanted to go see the movie in the theaters when it came out. And they were, egging me on. They were like cheering me on, like encouraging it. I get there the first day of the summer that I fly in, and they were like, are these Bratz dolls? We have these. You bought these last year. And I don't remember buying them, but it was 3 Yummyland dolls, actually. It was, I think, Susie Strawbella, Gabby Grapealina, and Amanda Appletina. I hope I got that right. I did not have Belinda Banana Anna, but I do now. And I was like, no, but those are Yummyland, and I know what Yummylands are because I perused the MGA websites, and I was on the Yummy, like, I knew the things as a kid. I was really like, I was an investigator as a kid. My life as an investigator as an 8-year-old. The true story about Lookin Bratz. Like, so, like, this is like deep-seated passion here. Like, this is why, like, lookinbratz.com was made. I was obsessed with the Bratz website. And I would have notebooks where I would scribble, like, new homepage designs for the Bratz website. Like, that's how deep it went. Like, this isn't something I started up as, like, oh, like, I'm gonna do this now. No, like, this goes back in time. So that's what I mean, like, when I say, like, I'm just a passionate person. Like, it's whatever. Like, I'm just a passionate person. That same day in California, my aunt takes me to Toys R Us. And it was this Toys R Us. Oh my God, I miss it. I miss it so much. Because, you could go to any old Toys R Us and say whatever about it. This specific Toys R Us meant a lot to me as a kid because it was the one I would always go to with my aunt. And it had a sign outside. I'm forgetting where it was, but I want to say it was in North Hollywood or in Van Nuys. I'm going to put it here because I have to show you the sign and show you what I'm talking about because it's abandoned now. And there's been a lot of like trespassing in there. And it's kind of sad to see something you love so much just become a shell of what it used to be. And I'm like, that's just depressing. Because that used to be like where I just have so many fond memories of that place. I wish I could go back in time sometimes and I'd be like, Cher. But I can't. It's a cool sign outside of this Toys R Us. And a few years later, they opened a little comic book store right next to it in like this little area. You have no idea what I'm talking about. But anyways, I liked going there too sometimes if I went to that Toys R Us. They had the dolls all the way in the back of the store. And we would always go, like, we'd walk through, we'd see the board games, the bikes, whatever, blah, blah, blah. We'd hit the dolls, and I'd go straight to Bratz. I did not give one F about Barbie or My Scene at this point. I was going straight to Bratz. Barbie and My Scene, like, I was casually interested in. I had one My Scene doll growing up, for the most part. Up until, like, I was a teenager, let's say. We went to the back of the store, we saw all the Bratz dolls, and my aunt buys me the entire Yasmin, Chloe, Kumi, Felicia, Sierra from the Bratz Sweet Dreams Pajama Party collection. Entire collection. One shot. I was like, well, shit. I hope there's more of that in store. And there was. I got so many dolls that summer. I was spoiled. Which gave me a big head back then. Ironically, I was a little brat because of it. I always got humbled when I went back home, though. My mom always humbled me. My grandmother would humble me. And I was gagged. I loved all the dolls. My dad had gotten a new apartment, so everybody was living in a different place. So I was in like 3 different parts of California, like traveling constantly between my grandmother's apartment, my aunt and her boyfriend's apartment, who she had just gotten a divorce the year prior, that guy who with the daughter who was an and he was also kind of an they had separated, and she got with a new guy who she is still with, which is amazing because it's like 20 years. And I stayed the first night at my dad's new apartment, which was in Simi Valley. Shout out to Jody. if she's listening, hey Jody. So we were in Simi Valley. He had a nice apartment. It was cute. It was a really nice, for what it was back then, like it was a great apartment. And I would lay out all my Bratz dolls, and it was just so much fun. My dad would build like a tent in like one of the rooms, and like I'd sleep in the tent. Like I had my own room in the apartment, but then we'd also build a tent for fun. Like it was just like silly shit. And I guess that was the perk of having a dad who was kind of emotionally immature, was that he like knew how to have fun sometimes. And I hope to do that for my kids one day. Like I want to have kids. I'm settling down with my fiance, and I look forward to that. Like I hope I can make fun memories like that for my kid. But also like not spoil them. Like I think I'm learning a lot about the way that I was brought up, and I'm like, I'll definitely apply that to my future parenting. It was just so special. Like I just remember getting so many Bratz dolls. I remember the Hannah Montana 2 Meet Miley Cyrus double CD came out, and I was gagged over that. Party City was popping back in the day. Ross Dress for Less, that place used to be popping back in the day. Marshall's used to be popping back in the day. They'd have all the dolls. They'd have party favors. They'd have everything Bratz. I loved going to those places. We'd go to, what was it? It was a plaza. I think it was called like the Spot or something. Like I forget. It's cool. If you see the sign, I don't think the plaza's as great as it used to be, but it's, you know, I consider it a little landmark in my head because I remember it as a kid. They actually had opened sort of like a play place there, like a arcade that was like had 2 floors. It was kind of big, and there was nobody going to it. I don't know why. Oh, it was called the Plant in Los Angeles. Yeah, anyways, this place, I remember they had a Bratz Sisters set as one of the prizes at this arcade. And then a year later it closed down and it became like a salon school, and now it's like a PetSmart. It's gone through, like, it's crazy to like see these things and be like, wow, that's gone through like 3 different lives since you've seen it. That plaza, the Plant, used to have a little store called Spice World. Not based off of the Spice Girls album, but it was just called Spice World, and it was like kind of like one of those like Sanrio shops. Like they had a bunch of Sanrio merch. They'd have some Bratz things sometimes. I think it closed down around 2011, and I can't find any record of it on the internet, and it bugs me that I cannot. Because I was like, I just remember that place. I would like to see like a picture of it to put just more to the memory. You know, I looked at the timer and I'm actually pretty shocked. I've covered a lot of ground here. You can't say like I'm a yapper. You can say I'm a yapper, but you can't say I didn't cover a lot of ground in that yapping time. Let's just say that. I think I have told you all my life story, like most of it, like a good chunk of it. We're not getting into the nitty-gritty though. But back to Bratz. That summer was really special for me. The Bratz movie, the Bratz live action movie, such a moment. Like, it's, you know, if you didn't grow up with Bratz, you're gonna think it's corny. Of course you are. You might even be a Bratz fan and think it's corny now. But let me say, as a Bratz fan, especially like imagine being in my predicament, just like kind of like spending your summer in California, being a Bratz fan and like being in such close proximity. Like, it felt like, I don't know, like it was just so special to me. And we went to see the Bratz movie in that plaza at the plant. We went there August 3rd, the day it came out. If you grew up in like Los Angeles, or if you in like the West Coast a little bit more, you might know the 99 cents only stores, which unfortunately closed last year. I hate saying that. Like, it doesn't feel real. And people might be like, oh, a dollar store? Like, what makes it so special? No, it was the 99 cents only store. It was a branch. Like, it was a whole thing, and it was a very good store. And so many people who are low income do not have access to that anymore, and that irks me. I'm mad. So anyway, not only because I love the store, but because it was good. It was a good option, and you could save a lot of money there. So I had bought Bratz Pez dispensers, and so we would hit up all 99 cent stores. Like, we'd be in Valencia, we'd be in Simi Valley, we'd be in Van Nuys, we'd be everywhere. We'd be hitting up all the 99 cent stores, my aunt and she would buy me Bratz Pez dispensers because they would have them in like the buckets, and you'd have to dig for them. And I couldn't find a Chloe one for the longest time, and I finally found one. Right before I was going to make my poster, because I bought a poster board at 99 cents only store, and I bought markers, and I had tape and glue, and I taped my Bratz Pez dispensers to the board, and I said Bratz on it. I don't remember what the rest of the poster said, but I just remember that part. We'd have Nickelodeon playing all the time. Like, I was at home all day. Like, again, like, I was like lonely. I didn't really have friends. We'd go to the pool, and I'd have my Bratz beach ball. Like, we had a Bratz beach ball. Like, they decked me out with the Bratz stuff, I will say. I was spoiled. That's why I'm like so. This is why I'm like this now. This is my issue, which isn't really an issue, but you know what I mean. It was just such a great summer. Like, I don't know, like something's very special about it because it really deepened my love for Bratz so much. I made a poster for the movie, which I didn't end up taking, which I understand, like, that would have been. Imagine walking into a movie theater with a poster. Let me say, for as bad as the movie did at the box office, that premiere night, a lot of people were in the crowd. Like, that movie theater was packed. Like, we had a hard time finding seats in the audience, but I loved the movie. It was such a mind-blowing experience for me as a 7-year-old. Yeah, I was obsessed. That's why I love that's why I love Bratz so much. Like, it was those are core memories for me, and my upbringing kind of just like led me to Bratz in some way. Nickelodeon would play, and the Bratz commercials would come on, and I'd get so excited. Like, I had to watch every Bratz commercial that came on the television. Like, I was tuned in. I was locked into whatever was happening with Bratz. I had all my Bratz dolls I was playing with. I was reading the little booklets that each doll came with. I was in it, y'all. In it. I had DVDs. The Bratz Kids Sleepover Adventure DVD came out a week before Bratz the movie came out in theaters. This was July 31st, I want to say, Bratz Kids Sleepover Adventure. We went to Target, and I got the Target bonus DVD, which had a sneak peek of the Bratz live action movie. This is where I'm like, I love Bratz. You cannot say I'm not a real Bratz fan, is all I'm gonna say. Nobody really tried to deny that, but I'm getting to a point here, and I'm getting to a point. If you stay tuned, because I'm gonna get to it. We went to Toys R Us as well, and we bought the soundtrack for the live action movie, which came out before the movie. And I listened to the soundtrack on my Bratz Rock Angelz CD player, and I was just learning the music. I was like, what am I expecting? I would listen to the Bratz specific songs a lot because I thought Yasmin's voice was very deep and I couldn't pin which character it was at the time. I remember my grandmother and I watching Sleepover Adventure together, and she got scared and I got scared at some points. She's a very nice, like, she's like a stay-at-home, she was a stay-at-home mother. She sacrificed a lot. That woman sacrificed so much for her family. And I miss her so much. She's alive, but I haven't seen her. I want to see her soon. She took such a good care of me, that woman. She took good care of everybody. She still does, I'm sure. But we watched Sleepover Adventure together, and Rock Angelz, we had the DVD, so we had a little Bratz marathon one day. And I miss those days. Yeah, Bratz and me, Bratz and I, like, we go way back. Around, like, 2008, like, well, let's say fall 2007, even though I still loved Bratz so much, everybody that I was friends with, like, we kind of, like, weren't, like, friends anymore, which happens, like, you know, that's, like, a part of, like, you know, growing up, I think, is, like, you know, you're going to meet different people, you're going to have different classes, there's going to be some new people in aftercare, some people are going to leave, you know, it's just life, the cycles shifting. And I remember I had my Bratz little Angelz, and the first day of aftercare, I brought them with me because I was so excited to show the girls. And everybody was different. Like, aftercare was completely different. And there were older kids now. Like, I think because I was going into 4th grade. And it's whatever. Like, I think whatever. I remember it so vividly. Like, I had my Bratz little Angelz, like the first, like, 5 or so that came out. And I was playing with them on one of the chairs by myself. And I was like, well, nobody else likes Bratz. So I kind of just was looking for other things at that point. But I was still, like, connected to Bratz. Like, I still went to the website. I still kept up with the news. I just wasn't able to express it as much. And then I think growing up as a boy at the time, it was hard to express yourself like that. Like, you know, it wasn't as accepted. And I'm sure, like, in a lot of places it isn't accepted as much now. But I think from my circumstances, like, I think a lot of people, if I was a kid growing up now, I think it would be a little bit easier for me to, like, you know, feel like I'm okay, like, expressing myself. But anyways, can't turn back time. I got into Pokemon. I still have all my Pokemon memorabilia from that era. Ironically, I have all that, but I don't have all my Bratz dolls, I think, because circumstances. I don't know where all my Bratz dolls ended up from back in the day. I have remnants of things. Like, I remember my little chair from the fashion tote Nazalia that I talked about earlier. I still have, like, that. I have a few random bits and bobs. I've repurchased a decent amount of my past dolls, but not everything. I think I have a lot of time to make up for with Bratz. Because I wasn't there for those earlier years. I don't have a lot of those, like, iconic collections, like Tokyo Go-Go or Flashback Fever. Like, I don't have, like, full collections like that. I have maybe bits and pieces. Maybe I have a single doll or 2 dolls from a collection, but I don't have every single doll. But that's why, like, I made lookinbratz.com, was because I wanted to know about every single doll, so that by the time I got that doll, I kind of was like, okay, like, I know this doll, like, I want this, you know, I've studied this doll, basically. I think I know Bratz very well because of that. I'm biased in that sense. And I do have some credentials to show for it. So I'm like, okay, like, I know Bratz. I know Bratz pretty decently. Though I'm sure some people would be like, he has the wrong vision for Bratz. He doesn't understand Bratz. He wouldn't know. He wouldn't do well. Whatever. Who gives a fuck anyway? And mind you, like, I wanted those collections so bad as a kid. Like, I would look at the MG little pamphlets. I would look at the website. I would change the URL to see different years for the products. Wow, this explains so much about me. On the MGA website, and I would see like what came out in 2004, like what was that year like for Bratz. Like it was fun, like doing that as a kid. Like I was so intuitive, I guess. I just wanted to explore that world, and I felt like I had understood it and I explored it so in depth at the time for a kid. I did have opportunities though to get those dolls. I was so focused on new dolls at the time that I kind of neglected some of the older dolls when it came to purchasing them. Like, before we get into later parts of my life, I do want to talk a little bit more about my experience in California and Bratz, because that's where I feel like it connected so well. There was a strip mall. It was an indoor strip mall, or like a mall outlet. It was weird. I don't know how to describe it. It was like a bunch of vendors in like one space, kind of like a flea market but indoors. And it wasn't, it was a nice place. So the indoor was very nice. It was right next to the supermarket. It was the supermarket next to the 99 cents only store. Oh my god, what was this place called? It was, oh my god, how did I forget the name? Anyways, I'm sure the name will come to me at some point. If not, I'll post it in here somewhere. But we would go to this little strip mall, me and my it's not a strip mall, it's an indoor little, I think it was called like El Super. Or maybe that was the supermarket next to it was El Super. El Super. So anyways, we would go in there a lot and we would buy turtles. They sold turtles in there. We'd buy little baby turtles. I had little baby turtles. And I loved taking care of them. I would change out their water. I'd give them food. Like, it was fun. It was fun time. And we would get food. Like, the food was really good. They had, like, a Chinese place, a Mexican place, like, different vendors. And then there was this one place. It was, like, another, like, Hello Kitty Sanrio, but, like, more school supply-based place. And it was, like, just, like, a little, booth, whatever. It was an okay size. Like the size of like a bedroom maybe, and you could like pick through stuff. And they did have dolls sometimes, and they had a Funk Out Yasmin, and my grandmother bought her for me, and then we went back to her apartment, and I was actually kind of friends with the kids in that apartment building. We'd hang out every so often. We'd play, because it was like an outdoor apartment building, but the indoor of it was like outside, and like the apartments were like the perimeter of the building, if that makes sense. And it was one of the girls' birthdays. It was the girl's birthday she was kind of annoying. She was kind of rude. A little, like, her family dynamic was weird, so now as an adult, I can't hold it against her, but that girl was very rude. But I was her friend. And I put up with her because we were all kids. And we didn't have a gift for her. It was her birthday. And my grandmother was like, well, what about this Bratz doll? And I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, I wanted this Bratz doll. It was Funk Out Yasmin. And I wanted her outfit because it was from the TV series. And my aunt told me she'd buy me a new Bratz doll if I gave away this Bratz doll. And I was like, okay. I gave it away, and I immediately was so upset. I almost broke down. I think I cried because of it. But the next day, it was like a day or two after maybe. I woke up in the morning. My grandmother wasn't in the apartment, but I figured she had went out to the laundry room, which was just like around the hall. But I go outside, I step out, there's like the regular door, the cage door. And there's someone sweeping, like I think one of the building managers or the custodian. He's sweeping up, whatever. It's an outdoor area, so it gets pretty dirty. And I see him sweep up a Bratz shoe. And it's one of Funk Out Yasmin's shoes. And I wasn't even like, I didn't cry at that point. I had cried before that, the night that it happened. But I just looked at it and I was like, oh. And that was like one of the first moments. I think it's like, well, that's what you get for being nice. I do have Funk Out Yasmin now. She's actually right here. Ooh, her shoe. Though, oh my god. Oh my god. Why did her shoe just pop off? That is an omen. I don't know if it's an omen. Maybe it was just something. Maybe it'll get swept up. We do have her in our hands again. I found her on Facebook Marketplace a few years ago and I bought her. That was a core memory again. Like, this is like how deep it goes with Bratz, is what I'm saying. And I'll get to a point where I'll explain why I'm saying this. This is very healing. I gotta say, this is healing. I've been talking to, I don't know if everyone knows Mar the Bratz. We've been talking a lot lately about just like healing, and this feels like such a healing moment right now. Yeah, this is nice. This is nice. Thank you for letting me do this. If you're watching this, and her shoe keeps popping off. That is funny. That is ironic. All right, I took a little break because my phone died, and I kept talking a little bit after that Funk Out Yasmin story. But I did want to, talk a little bit more about the topic because I think there's still, I've had special memories of Bratz, especially growing up, and I did get a new Bratz doll. Instead of Funk Out Yasmin, I got Bratz, the Yasmin looking girl. I call them pink, purple, and blue. Something that I don't like in the doll industry is the way that the dolls are referred to. They gotta cut the fireworks around here. If you see my Jean-Paul Gaultier video, you know what I'm talking about. This is another special memory. I'm just gonna talk about all my memories right now, because I wanted to do these in like separate videos, but it's fine. I'll just talk about them now, and I'm sure I'll talk about them again when relevant. I think they're relevant to what this video's about, at least. We were looking for the Bratz dolls, and I desperately wanted one. And we stumbled upon this Kmart, and it was somewhere near Simi Valley, but not immediately close. It was a little bit out of the way of where we would typically be. We'd be in like Van Nuys, and we'd be in North Hollywood. We'd be in Simi Valley, Valencia. This was, I don't know where this was. And I used to have the location, but it closed down a year after we visited it in the summer of 2007. And it was another one of those experiences where I didn't expect to have it, but we walked into the Kmart. It was like a basic Kmart. Kmart used to be much better at the time, and it's only in Australia now. They just closed the last Kmart in the United States, but it's already kind of been dead for the most part. But yeah, this Kmart was typical, whatever. It was a little bit more dim than the Kmarts I'd been to. Oh my God. But it was whatever. It was okay Kmart. I was like, okay, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It was like one of the Kmarts I would see later on in life. Like when Kmart was really run down in the United States, like that's how it looked in this Kmart, but there was a lot more stock in this Kmart. So we go to the shoes because my aunt wants to look at the shoes, whatever, and we see the Bratz Flashback Fever roller skates. And she's a very small woman. She's 4'11", and she's very tiny. She's very dainty. And she was like jokingly like, I should get the roller skates and roller skate in them. And I'm sure she could have. She probably would have fit in them. But she didn't actually get them. And I kind of wish she did, because that just would have been iconic. She should have roller skated in them. So whatever, we're walking around Kmart. We finally get to the dolls. And the dolls are like in the middle of the store. It was such an odd spot for the toys for me. Like, I'm used to dolls being like towards the sides, but this was right smack in the middle. Filled. Collections on collections. I couldn't even fully take in everything. I think I saw Flashback Fever. I saw Wild Wild West. I saw Tokyo Go-Go. I saw everything. I saw Campfire. I was like, wait, I didn't see any new Bratz. And so I passed up everything. I wonder if I saw live in concert, because I feel like I never saw live in concert in stores. And it's like my favorite collection. I don't know if I saw it, but I remember these shelves were just filled with dolls and dolls and dolls. And I wish at the time I'd kind of understood that that wouldn't happen again. I don't see that anymore. We don't see that anymore. That hurts. It hurts deeply. And not even just from Bratz, but just generally. And we don't see a lot of good product on the shelves these days in that category. but I feel like it used to be so dominating back in the 2000s, and I miss it. I miss that era. I ended up finding the Bratz Yasmin. I gotta be honest though, I don't know when or where. I really don't remember when we found it. But that one memory of like going to that Kmart that I didn't buy anything at, that stuck with me. And I wish at the time I had said something. Like, I'd rather get a doll here, or something like that. But it's okay, we live and we learn. I hope one day maybe I can experience something like that, some sort of euphoria like that again. Anyways, I know I was talking about, like, I got out of dolls at some point in my life. I got into Pokemon. When I was... did I talk about my YouTube? I think I was talking about my YouTube before, or right after my thing shut off. But I got into the Bratz community about 2009. I opened a Flickr account. I had been on YouTube for a bit, actually. I started YouTube January 2009 under The Dominic Show. I wanted to do skits because I loved shows like All That and The Amanda Show back in the day, and I wanted to do a little skit show. And I was doing that for like a year or so. It was fun. I think most of the videos are private or deleted, unfortunately. But it's okay. It's okay. I'm okay. And I had made a separate account to do Bratz videos, and that's where I met some people who I had made friends with at the time who are still around, actually, and we're not exactly friends anymore, which circumstances, it's crazy how far back I go in the community, but I wasn't Lookin Bratz up until a certain point. Because I had, been stalking the Bratz websites, I'd been doing all that. I kept up with all the doll stuff. I remember when Liv was coming out. I remember Juku Couture. Those are deep cuts. That's a deep cut Juku Couture. I don't see a lot of people talk about those. Liv dolls, yes, people remember those. A good chunk of people. But times like that is like, when I was coming into Flickr and the doll community and YouTube. And I remember Moxie Girls coming out, and I bought them at that same Toys R Us that I talked about before that my aunt and I would always go to. And she bought me a bunch of Moxie Girls. I'm like, I wish I still had all my stuff. I repurchased a lot of them, and we'll unbox them in future videos, but it was like Artitude Sasha, and I think I had the whole Artitude collection, actually. I had maybe like one or two of the Jammas dolls. It was just such a special time, like, cause like that was like the Bratz replacement at the time, but then also Bratz had some new stuff coming out. I had a Passion for Fashion Rodeo rocker Chloe. I had Earth Girl Yasmin. I had the artist Jade. Like, it was an interesting time to be a Bratz collector, let's say. I got those at Kmart in 2009. They were like $10-15 at the time. Now people try to sell them for crazy prices, and I mentally can't accept it. Like, why are people like paying such egregious prices for these dolls? And I know it's like rarity, whatever. I don't care. I don't give a like, they should not be that expensive. So, because I just remember the days where I had those dolls and they were accessible. And Bratz just is not accessible anymore. And not just on the secondhand market. But that maybe is reserved for a different video on a different day. Because I have thoughts and feelings about Bratz too. Bratz currently. I would take pictures of my dolls. Sometimes my aunt would help me make little outfits for them. And I post pictures on Flickr of my dolls. And I started, navigating the doll community through there. And over time in the 2010s, I'd enter BNTMs, Bratz Next Top Model competitions, and I wasn't that great, honestly. Like, I was not, whatever, but I met people, and I would observe people, I'd watch people, and I'd see people like Hayden Williams. I'd see Mar, the Bratz. I'd see, before she was Mar the Bratz, like, when she was Bratz Love, and when Hayden Williams was Fashion Love. Not to put them on the spot, but they're my friends, so, we're all good here. But things like that, like YouTube, watching Berry Bread, who's now the senior brand manager at Bratz, which is like amazing. Like, it's crazy how far, how much time has passed, but like, seeing like the roots of what people have done, and like, doing the things that they've done in their careers. It's amazing to see, honestly. And because I observed these people as a kid, I was like, I love their videos, I love their illustrations, I love their pictures. I tried to enter the BNTM for Mar, and I don't think I got in. I may have made it through run round, but I wasn't a good photographer. Yeah, it was those things, but I started getting into like filming stuff. Like I was doing short films as a kid. Not as a kid, I'd say like a middle schooler, teenager. Like I was really into screenwriting, and I would, I had a camera and I would use it to like, make short films, and I was taking classes and I was entering like little competitions and stuff for short films. Like it was a cool time in my life. And anytime I had like a group project at school, we would do a little like, video for it because we had the materials and I was learning how to. And it was something I was so passionate about and I lost touch with. And it's crazy because where I work now, I ran into the instructor for the course I took when I was in middle school, I believe. Yeah, middle school and high school, my freshman year of high school. I dropped it because he stopped instructing the class. I don't know what happened, but he stopped. And I didn't want to take the class anymore because I preferred him as my teacher. He works with a company that my job uses for certain events. And I ran into him, and it was just interesting. Like, 10 years later, you see this person who was kind of like your mentor at one point. And, I haven't done much, video stuff, maybe like the past 10 years since I was in high school. And the most I do now is filming videos of myself for YouTube and maybe trying to make videos of my dolls. And sometimes I don't think I'm the best at it. I try my hardest. I love telling, like, stories. I want to explore worlds. Like, that's what I've been passionate about. And I try to get as much of that out as I can in the content that I produce. And it's so limited. And I felt so drained because I was balancing so much. And I definitely put out the wrong perception of myself for some time as Lookin Bratz. Because as passionate as I am about Bratz, I'm not super passionate about, like, whatever the hell I was doing for some time. And to be more specific, I was doing a lot of news stuff. I didn't mind doing the news stuff. I found it to be kind of fun at times, and it was always exciting to see people's reactions. Though when something went wrong with a Bratz release, a lot of the heat would be on me for some reason. And I have to say, never, from this point, and before this point ever, I've never, ever been involved in any official Bratz project. Any doll that has been made, maybe there was an influence there. Maybe they used my website to reference something. Maybe they pulled references from there. That's a possibility. Maybe that came in handy. And I do know that they use my website, so that is confirmed to me by several of their employees. But I've not had a hand in any decision making. I've not. I don't know. I don't know their release schedule. I've never really known their release schedule. That's why I did the new stuff, because I was just as curious as a lot of people. And I figured, well, if I'm out looking for it, I'll record it. I'll do a blog on it. I'll do a Facebook post. I'll do Instagram. I'll do Twitter. I'll do whatever. I was doing everything. I was doing TikTok, YouTube. Announce it here, do it here, do it here, do it here. I was doing a lot. And it got tiring, and I wasn't getting any benefit from it. And, I'm not asking everybody to, like, send me money. Like, that's tacky. But I'm not, like, whatever about it. But I just felt, to some degree, some people saw me as someone a little bit more important than I am. And people have seen probably different sides of me. They've probably seen Lookin Bratz as a website, a database. Cool. That was why I created lookinbratz.com. I wanted there to be a source, a resource that had a lot of the important information. I think I take the important bits and I put it out on that website. There might be little details here and there that people don't care about, but it's really like what I care about for the most part, and things that I get asked about a lot sometimes. And I'm like, well, if people don't know what hair type this is, let me try to figure out a way to add that to the website, that kind of thing. And it's been definitely like, it's nice to have grown the website so much. I'm happy that I put in the work to do that. And I'm happy that I got to make so many connections from that, like, you know, connect with so many different people, make different friends, and also like hit different audiences in a sense, because I think I've produced very nice content. I think I produce polished content for the most part. I think YouTube I struggle with a little bit. And I think it's also because I've had so many years of just not having devoted time to developing it, because I've been so focused on like Bratz things and then being the Bratz news source and whatever. And it got very demanding from different people, and not everybody, it's not everyone's fault. It's, you know, some people, and I think I said this before, people get greedy when you're passionate. They want you to post links everywhere. They want you to disperse every little single bit of information in every single spot. You can't miss anything. You can't redirect them anywhere. I was using, and I'm going to be in the future just using lookinbratz.com as the reference. And if you want to learn more about it, please do go use the website, because that's why I created it. It's for people who are curious about the brand. When I was a kid, I was curious about Bratz. I went to the websites. I went to the Wikipedias. I went to the Yahoo forums. I went everywhere I could to find every inkling of information. Shout out to Lady Yuna. You know who you are if you're watching this. You inspired me. The Yahoo groups inspired me. The fan sites, everything. Bratz Boulevard. Name it. I probably was inspired by it to create the website. And because I wanted really a concise place, because it got scattered across the internet, and now it's all mostly gone, archival, or it's hard to find. So why not have it in one accessible place? Is it that bad of a concept for some people? Like, not saying everybody. Some people don't like my website. That's okay, but then they try to like turn it around on me and say, well, it's all archival information. Yeah, that's the fucking point of the website, you dumbass. Like, what the fuck? And yeah, I have tried to build myself up from it, because I think I deserved a little bit of something. Like, you know, like I think, and I got, it wasn't like I want to get popular, whatever, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I like seeing that people are getting opportunities. I started showing my face a little bit more in 2022 when the Monster High Creep productions were coming out. I did that because I wanted to do that for Bratz. I wanted that to be my reality for Bratz. I'm going to say it out loud, and I know some of you don't like this person. I really don't care what your opinion is of this person, because I'm not going to give my opinion of them, but I am going to tell you about that. Claudina, hi, if you're watching. Sorry to name drop you. I hope it's okay. I hope it's allowed. You've name dropped me a few times, so we're going to do it here. Claudina, I don't have an angry bone in my body about you. In fact, to a degree, I do respect you a lot. If you are watching this. But not for reasons that, you know, people have different reasons for hating this person. I understand it. I've heard it. I know. So anyways, I don't want to argue with people. Say whatever you want at this point. I'm airing out all my dirty laundry right now. Not all of it, but we're getting to some stuff, because it all ties into like what it meant to become a content creator. Because people ask me, how'd you become a content creator? What made you become a Bratz influencer? Are you a Bratz brand ambassador? No, not officially. I should be, though, if we're being real. I'm just Lookin Bratz. So I saw Claudina and a handful of other influencers. It was a pretty big group, I think. They all got flown out to California, or they flew out themselves. I don't know the full story, but they all went to California, to El Segundo, to the Mattel headquarters, and they got to do some Monster High experience, and they got all this Monster High merch and free Monster High dolls. They got the Creep productions, they got the G3 dolls, and I was like, wow, that looked so special. And I had gotten a few PR opportunities before that. I had gotten the Bratz 20 years reproductions, and I got a few others after that. They sent me the Rock Angels like a year after the fact, which was strange. And they sent me one wrong package. I'm gonna, not to like embarrass them, but they sent me one package with like the defective dolls, and then they sent me one with the right ones like months later. It was so funny. So anyways, I was just seeing all these opportunities that the Monster High creators were getting, and I was like, well, that would be kind of nice. And I'm feeling comfortable in my skin. I feel established enough in my own life that I can maybe do something as a content creator and really put myself out there. So I did that. I did exactly that. It was a little bit of a slow burn, but I burned myself out in 2022 and 2023 to really put content out. And I got a few cool opportunities from that. I got a few paid opportunities from MGA, but nothing long-term. I'm not a salaried employee like people think I am, or I think I've addressed it enough that maybe people don't think that anymore. But some people still are like, well, he's on payroll or he's getting paid to advertise this. I'm just grateful that they sent me a free doll. Like, and I will do the utmost. I used to, not this year. Like, I slowed down a lot. I used to do crazy promo for like every single Bratz launch that happened. I did it only because they sent me free dolls and because I loved the brand. Like, that's how much I loved and cared about that. But I will say, like, I haven't done any paid work with them in a long time. It's been like maybe a year or almost 2 years, like a year and a half or so. It's, I don't know, been a weird time. But the Bratz brand is growing, and I think it's probably maybe outgrown some of its fan base. And I've just got to make peace with that. I do appreciate whatever they send me. It doesn't matter if they send me future product. I will buy what I want to purchase, but I will say I do have some time to make up with Bratz for my childhood in the portions where I got to miss out on some of those Bratz moments that I appreciate as a Bratz fan and that I would love to add to my collection. So that's where I'm at with Bratz a little bit. But anyways, when it comes to the Bratz becoming a content creator, whatever, getting Bratz PR, it happened because the first time that they released dolls this era in 2021, I did some pieces of content with them. And I said, hey, is there any chance I might be able to get a set of free dolls in exchange for doing this content with you? And I don't want to say it was an issue, but they definitely put up a few stop signs, if that makes sense. There wasn't an immediate, like, yeah, like, let's do it. Like, oh, like, we're going to have to, like, really check because there's some red tape. I was like, oh, okay. Like, I thought, honestly, like, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I thought I established myself a little bit enough, especially because they were asking me to do content on their page. So I asked for Bratz PR. Like, I asked for a set of the dolls, and they sent them to me, and they sent me not the best quality versions of those dolls, like the 20 years dolls. Like, my Chloe was wonky. But I was still grateful. I thanked them. I did a bunch of posts for them. I was doing little shorts for them when the GCDS dolls came out. Like, I was doing things. And I was purchasing stuff too. I wasn't just receiving free product. I was using my hard-earned money. At that point, I was a graduate student working an internship, and then I was working a second job. And I was trying to do content creation and run the website and do all the stuff. So I was trying to get myself some stuff on the side. Like, I was buying stuff actively from MGA, but I was budgeting just enough to make it by. At this point, like, with all my bills, I have enough to buy like one doll, which is okay. Maybe I need that. Maybe I need to purchase one doll at a time. I can accept that fate. But I can't even find dolls right now. Like, I can't even find dolls in the store right now. I went to Target yesterday, and I guess the restock isn't up until today or tomorrow or something, but some of the stores are stocking the Stylin' dolls early, and I really want a Fashion Pixies doll at some point. I hope I find them in the store soon. Like, that would be nice. It would be nice to see Bratz in the store again. If you haven't listened to, like, if you haven't taken anything away from this video, it would be very nice for Bratz to be more stocked on shelves. Sincerely from a fan. And as vocal as I am about it, I have no power in making that happen. So people will come to me with all these questions and asking me, like, what store am I going to find this at? Was this at, like, the West Philadelphia store? And I'll be like, I don't know. Like, how the frick would I know that? I don't want to be rude to anybody, and I don't want to say, like, how the frick would I know that? But I would like to be, like, realistic. Like, why would you think I would know, like, why the Westchester store of West Bumble Frick? I'm trying not to curse as much, because I cursed a lot. Why would I know that information? Why? Why did you expect me to know that? And I get that quite often, and I think a little less now, because I think I'm making it clear, like, how would I know that? I'm not an employee for MGA. I'm not a Target employee. I'm not a Walmart employee. I don't live outside of the United States. I've never even traveled outside the United States. Like, that's how, like, much I've been a little sheltered in my life. And I would like to, like, not live the rest of my life like that. I would like to get out more, preferably. So, anyways, I becoming the Bratz person, the go-to person, isn't what it's been cracked up to be. I think some people have maybe tried to take elements of what I've done and apply it to what they do, or been inspired by me, and that's okay. I really don't mind. I don't mind at all. But I notice it sometimes, and I've been inspired by others too. I told you who I've been inspired by. It's okay if people have been inspired by my work. That's a compliment. I wouldn't say, like, try to, like, don't be, like, weird about it. Like, don't try to, like, outright copy somebody. Like, that's tacky. That's skanky. I've been accused of that, even though I've not intentionally done that, but that's another story for another day. That was a life lesson. But I don't know. Like, people are like, well, how do you get Bratz PR? Or, like, tell MG to give me Bratz PR. Can you put in a good word for me? I get it in a bunch of different tones, a bunch of different ways. Sometimes it's really sincere. Sometimes you can tell who's social climbing. And for me, if you didn't listen to anything in this video, shame on you. But for real, I am deeply passionate about Bratz, and I think that has bled into my work. And I think that has been recognized in some ways that has granted me certain opportunities. I would love for more people to get those types of opportunities. It's just that I have no power. I have no say. Sometimes, once in a blue moon, 3 times I can count, I have been asked to forward some recommendations. I have always forwarded a healthy amount of recommendations. And maybe a handful of those people will get picked. Sometimes, I think the one time I got completely ignored. And that was just the reality of it. And it happens. Like, it's not me. I don't control that. And I'm flattered that people think that I am more important than what I am. But I just came on here and I spilled, like, my life story to you. And my connection to Bratz. I think Bratz is in my blood. For real. Like, there's probably microplastics from all the Bratz dolls that I have interacted with in my lungs. I've breathed in all the particles from MGA's factories, and I'm still here. I don't know what I'm doing moving forward as much, but I do want to do more content creation. I'd like to do a bit more of it. Because there's no other opportunities going for me. Like, I really am just gonna be chilling on here, doing some videos. YouTube is where I make the most profit, to be honest. And really the profit goes right back into, like, what I'm doing for Lookin Bratz, like, as a whole. Like, the website, the social media, what I want to do. I've put a lot of passions and dreams aside. I've let go of a lot, or I'm trying to let go of a lot, and accepting that I am not that special. And I hope if there's anyone who's looked at me and been like, I wish I was like him, I'd say no. I think you should definitely, everybody should be themselves, first of all. Don't be ingenuine or disgenuine. I majored in English, mind you. I have my bachelor's in English. And I don't think it's fair to put expectations on a person who is setting their boundaries in that regard. I don't, there's no benefit to me posting about Bratz news, to be fair. I did approach MGA with a partnership proposal, as amateur as it may have been, and they were not interested. They have sent me some dolls. I don't know if they will continue to send me dolls. TBD, I don't know. That's all I got going with them, is some free dolls. And even then, I'll probably still end up buying them in the store as well. Like, I purchase dupes sometimes, and I purchase dolls for my boyfriend because my fiance, my soon-to-be husband, is a doll collector as well. So he loves Bratz as well. We're very, like, you know, connected, and I hope one day, like, he would like to come on camera with me. Who knows? But I also, you know, respect his boundaries, but he loves dolls just as much as me, and he's such a lovely person. And I'm gonna marry the man, so. Although I'm not wearing my ring right now. It's because I just showered and I was doing stuff today. But, yeah, what the point I'm trying to get at is, like, I am deeply passionate about Bratz, and that will remain, regardless of anything. I might be obsessed with the idea of what Bratz was at some point in time, but I also do appreciate and reflect on times where maybe I don't necessarily think it aligns with what, as someone who is so deeply passionate about Bratz and has a long history with them, would feel. You know, like, I don't feel as deeply about some of the stuff, but it's okay. It's really okay. And when it comes to content creation and being an influencer, I'm not really the best example, even though I have gotten a lot of PR. I will admit, I've gotten almost every single doll that MGA has produced for Bratz in the past 3-4 years. I don't have every mini Bratz, but hey, I did get the regular dolls. Which I think was very generous of them for what it was, though I would have loved to, you know, maybe not that be the only thing. It's fine. And it would deeply appreciate it, because I would post content and people would tune in and people enjoyed it, and that's great. I'm happy that people enjoy my content, because I think I spent so much of my life just having the fear of being judged. The fear of being judged for so many different reasons. And I just don't know. I just kind of want to step into me again. I have a lot of videos, though, to post. And I have a lot of ideas still. I still have a lot of ideas. So we're just going to go from here. Oh, it's a piece of dust flying around. I need to eat dinner. I've spent a lot of time talking with y'all. I would have done a Q&A, but let me just say, the Q&As, people will ask me about Bratz news. And I'm like, do you have a link? Or do you know where this is in Australia? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know where it is in Australia. I'm sorry. I don't live in Australia. I'd love to go one day, but I've never left the country. I've never left the country. So, yeah. Love my Australian Bratzies, though. Like, they're amazing. Yeah. I'm laying it all out on the line here. I'm just a grown-ass man who lives in the attic. I do pay bills, though. Don't get me wrong. This is not a free ride here. I'm paying. I have a full-time job. It is not in the industry I would like to preferably be in, but it's paying the bills for now, sorta. Even though it's kind of not paying the bills anymore. And this is all, like, I'm passionate about it, but it is kind of side hustle passion. And it kind of sucks. I wish it was my main thing, but maybe one day in due time, or maybe I'll do something completely different. I feel like if Barbie has taught me anything, it's that you could be anything. And so can Bratz, but I really wish Bratz was meant what it meant to me 20 years ago. I wish that's what it would mean for future generations. And when people approach me about things like Bratz PR, I do question, like, are you like really like into Bratz, or are you a social climber? I'm not saying everybody's a social climber who's a content creator. I'm just saying there are some people who I question. And I interact with a lot of different people daily because of this. So just keep that in mind. When I say my shit, I say it because of everything I've absorbed. But yeah, that's my story. That's my Bratz story. That's how I became Lookin Bratz. This is the true Hollywood story for Dom of Lookin Bratz. I think I owe it to myself on my 27th birthday to be candid about my circumstances, but the fact that even though maybe I wish I had more for myself, I am okay where I'm at now, and I'm privileged to be where I'm at now. And I should be grateful for that, and I am grateful for that. But there's sometimes I'll say something on social media and it does get misconstrued, and sometimes I'll get a DM that I just don't have the answer to, and I often get DMs that I don't have the answer to, which I think is also sparking this a little bit in me. But I do want to make it clear that I really am a Bratz fan at the core of it. And anything that comes with it is really just an added benefit. And yeah, that's it. That's all I gotta say. I love Bratz. I love Bratz. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would be curious to know, I wish, because sometimes I'll leave like a question and I'm like, I wonder if people are gonna really answer it. But like, what was your first Bratz doll? And if not a Bratz doll, what was your first doll? I want to hear people's stories, because I think a lot of us come to YouTube and watch people like me and people like Claudina and people like, there's so many people. And I would like to shout out the doll content creators, because when the companies are not doing their best, we are the ones trying to uplift a lot of these brands. We are free marketers for a lot of these corporations and these brands. And you got to understand that if you want to become a content creator yourself, you might get used, you might get stepped on, you might get stepped over. And look out for yourself, but also don't give into the viciousness. Don't give into the manipulation. Don't give into the clickiness of it all. Be very careful. Tread lightly. And really make sure you're doing this for yourself. And to genuinely form meaningful connections, but also know when to limit them, if you know what I mean. It's a tricky place. It's tricky to navigate. And as someone, I think I've had a unique perspective on it because of my experience as someone who didn't really start as an influencer, but really was just a fan who was a super fan and then graduated, or I don't know, sometimes I feel like I downgraded to just being reduced down to an influencer, because I have felt like more than that, and influencers serve a great purpose. I just don't think I'm serving it like an influencer, like a real influencer personally. So yeah, I hope this makes sense. I hope I've explained this correctly for folks. Like, I guess I'm that Bratz bitch, but I don't quite feel like it at times. I don't know if you're catching my drift. But do check out lookinbratz.com. I have stuff on there. It's changing a little bit. You'll notice some changes soon. And happy birthday to me, and happy birthday to you whenever it's your birthday. If it's your birthday today, hi twin. All right, I think it's time for me to sign out, but I will see y'all in the next video. Bye.